Here we go again. The fun doesn't stop. Damn.
Ukrainian FPV drones destroys Russian elite troop convoy in Donetsk region.
Oh wow, there's a lot of... Look how many we got here. We got a whole convoy. This got to be an older video because I don't think Russians do this anymore because they know better. Well, maybe not.
Operators of Ukraine's FPV drones border unit have intensified their hunt for Russian heavy and light armored vehicles, significantly weakening the enemy's ability to conduct offensive operations in Donetsk region. The Unmanned Systems Forces published footage of the unit's latest combat missions, showcasing the effectiveness of precision drone strikes against advancing Russian formations.
Crazy.
Throughout October, the Phoenix operators demonstrated exceptional efficiency, destroying 12 tanks, 46 armored vehicles, and eliminating 642 enemy troops.
Wow.
Each strike was carried out with meticulous coordination, often under heavy fire, as Russian forces continued their attempts to seize Ukrainian defensive positions in the sector.
That's just from the drones alone. That's not counting the regular infantry.
The footage released by the Unmanned Systems Forces highlights how unmanned systems have transformed modern warfare in Ukraine. Swift coordination between drone operators, artillery units, and command elements has created a layered system of defense that can quickly identify, fix, and neutralize advancing threats.
Look at that. Look at this thing. This thing is from World War I. A metal box with gauges. Bizarre. Right at there at the fuel.
Earlier, Ukrainian forces uncovered a massive Russian buildup by hacking into security camera networks near key Russian bases.
Nice.
Discovering huge forces being amassed for the next wave of the offensive operation. Acting immediately, Ukrainians unleashed all available missiles and drones FPV, devastating the convoys before they could ever reach the battlefield. The last Russian push toward Dobropilya ended in disaster, as understrength formations rushed in without proper artillery or armor support and were torn apart in a devastating Ukrainian ambush. Now the Kremlin is trying again.
Kremlin.
This time Russia is...
I love that he's saying Kremlin and not just Russia. That's good stuff. That's good. Stick to the truth, man. Awesome.
Redeploying full-strength brigades meant to spearhead through the Ukrainian encirclement. The main force is led by the 155th and 40th Naval Infantry Brigades, with airborne units from the 11th Brigade and elements of the 76th Division joining the push, originating from the Kursk, Bakhmut, and Kherson sectors. These are units that Russia has leaned on before to make high-risk breakthroughs. The 155th in particular has had to be reconstituted at least 13 times, most recently after disastrous losses at Kursk, making it one of the most repeatedly shattered units of the war.
Whoa.
As Russian offensive efforts in these sectors are stalling, their success is being sacrificed and their forces redirected to the Pokrovsk front,
Turn around.
trying to salvage a losing battle now unfolding at the Dobropilya salient. Ukraine is not waiting for the second wave to reach the front. Just like with the earlier ambush, they are intercepting Russians in transit.
Oh my God.
Ukrainian cyber teams have been tasked with hacking into Russian traffic and security camera systems across occupied regions.
You have to.
This gives Ukrainian forces real-time visual data on Russian convoy routes, timing, and staging areas.
They are using AI right here for all this stuff now. All of it. And the Russians are using it too. The war that you knew that was the traditional old school is slowly fading away.
Areas without having to rely on satellite or drone surveillance. Once spotted, loitering munitions like the RAM-2X are launched to intercept Russian vehicles in transit, hitting them before they can reach the front.
Nice.
These are compact drones designed for convoy ambushes, capable of identifying moving vehicles, circling overhead, and then diving directly onto soft targets with devastating precision. Over the past week, Russian media outlets have repeatedly complained about these attacks, particularly in the Donetsk region. The videos show several trucks and armored vehicles being attacked while in transit.
I like these drones. They're pretty nice. They're a little different from like the little DJI drones, right? The little slower ones, but these are like pretty quick.
Often in areas far behind the front lines.
Right. They probably have a longer distance they can travel. Oh my God.
For Russia, this is a serious problem. Reinforcements are disappearing before they can even enter the battle. And unlike shelling or drone strikes near the front lines, these attacks are taking place in rear zones previously considered safe. Those who survived the redeployment face a second wave of attacks as Ukrainian units now launch coordinated mop-up operations as new Russian forces rush in.
Nice.
Сука, черти ебаные, нахуй. Петушки, блядь!
Footage from the 93rd Mechanized Brigade shows Ukrainian scouts advancing into a contested village under the cover of a T-80 BVM tank, flushing out remaining Russian defenders and methodically clearing the area. The tank does not just provide firepower, it also acts as mobile cover for advancing infantry, allowing them to move through open areas and clear buildings at close range. Once the area is secured, follow-on elements move in to stabilize the line. Then comes the third phase, rapid assault by elite formations, as footage from the Azov Brigade's Spear Group shows them advancing under fire in tight formation, pushing through tree lines and debris fields to reach enemy strongpoints. The footage shows that they do not engage in drawn-out firefights, instead moving rapidly under close coordination with each other and drone overwatch, using aggression and overwhelming force to break what remains of the Russian line. Ukraine is no longer waiting for Russian offensives to form, as reinforcements are now seen as not a future threat, but as targets in motion, tracked and intercepted before they reach the front. This shift is powered by real-time surveillance, drone integration, and the hacking of traffic and security cameras in occupied zones.
Oh my God.
Because so many forces are destroyed on the move, Russians do not have the ability to concentrate their units for a large breakthrough, as waiting too long for a large group to gather would just invite additional Ukrainian strikes. Essentially, Russia's offensive is being dismantled on the road, and Ukraine is striking faster than Russia can regroup, and the
Right.
survivors efficiently cleared out.
Huh, jumped out right on time.
The destruction of such a volume of enemy armor has had a tangible operational impact. Russian units lost not only their mobile protection, but also much of their frontline fire support, which heavily relied on armored vehicles. Without these assets, their offensive capabilities were sharply reduced, and further assaults became increasingly unsustainable.
That's a big explosion.
Drone warfare remains at the core of Ukraine's asymmetric defense strategy. Units like the Phoenix combine reconnaissance and strike capabilities, enabling them to detect and destroy key targets far beyond the line of direct contact. This flexibility allows Ukrainian defenders to undermine Russian offensives before they can gather full momentum.
Nuts. That's it, out of service. Oof. I'm actually very curious about these specific drones. I can't find anywhere online what this one or these type called. So if you guys let me know in the comment section, let me know. I'm curious to look into these because these are a little different. I know they've used them before. I just want to look more into these because they're faster and they can travel way longer distances. So I need to see some more videos or footage on these types of drones. And right now, as we speak, it says Russia infiltrates Pokrovsk with new tactics that test Ukraine's drones. So as we speak, this is brand new. This is November 6th, 2025. And I guess there is Russia threatens to encircle Pokrovsk, seen as a gateway to the remaining free areas of Donetsk. And I'm very curious how it's gonna unfold. We're all gonna find out here very soon. This is a big test for the Ukrainian drones in particular. Huge test for them. See if they can hold off the Russians with the drones. So we should know in the next a week, maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks. I don't know. We'll have more information on this a little bit later. Yes, is on October 29th, Ukraine commanders reported only 200 Russian soldiers in Pokrovsk, but that's probably has changed. They're probably, there's probably more now because that was about a week ago. I'm trying to stay up to date on this one specifically. Right here we have the satellite images in Pokrovsk as of right now, or November 3rd, and looks like there's some shit going down there. This is Russian forces have been trying to capture Pokrovsk for more than a year. If they succeed, it would be Moscow's first big win on the battlefields since the capture of Avdiivka in the earlier last year. So here you can see where Pokrovsk is. And what do we have? Russian controlled territory, so all full red. And then assessed Russian advances. So it looks like the Russians are really trying really hard to encircle it. And like I said, we're gonna find out in the next week, 2, maybe a month if the Russians can do this. The Russians have been throwing so many men into this war. It just does not seem like they can go on forever, right? They're losing more men than there is birth rates in Russia. Russia already had pretty low birth rate. It's actually going into the negative. So does the Ukraine, but they're losing way more men than Ukraine is, and Ukraine has less men because it's a smaller country with a smaller population. That makes sense. But how long can the Russians grind this out? I know a lot of people will say, well, that's how the Russia wins wars, is they just grind, they throw hundreds of thousands of, if not millions of men into a problem, and then they win by that. But I think it's not the old days anymore. It's not the same. So I guess we'll have to just wait and see how it's all gonna play out. Let me know in the comment section if I missed something, if there's anything new on this whole Pokrovsk situation, and what do you guys think about the FPV drones in the warfare these days? Thank you for watching. Підпишись, це безкоштовно. Subscribe, it's free, and we'll see you guys next time. До побачення.